And we need to talk offline too,
Sounds good.
because I have some concerns about what the legislature has proposed. And I saw notes to that effect from you as well.
Yep, that's right.
Good morning, Cheryl. As of right now, we don't have a quorum. We need one more person.
Okay, I see Nan, I saw Dale.
Dale he's not a member of the committee.
Okay, who else who are my other options?
Jones, Simon, and Gallagher.
Okay. Let me text. Okay, and you told me Gallagher?
Yes.
Okay, I text all three of them right quick. Hopefully one of them or two of them will pop in quickly.
I'm here.
Yes, ma'am, you are. Thank you. It's me and you, Nan. We can make decisions.
We can do it. If they would just listen to us, we'd be all set.
And we're willing to work with each other. I don't know what they need.
Exactly. I agree.
And we have Dale present to check on us.
Right.
Make sure we don't, go overboard. Yay, there's Sunny. Thank you, Miss Sunny. Okay, I need either Gallagher or Jones to appear, right?
As of now, we have a quorum, so we're all set.
Oh, awesome. Then, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to the Community Development Committee of Cuyahoga County Council. Today is Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. It's 10 a.m. and we are officially starting this meeting. Madam Clerk, if you would do a roll call, please.
In the room, Ms. Stevens.
Present.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Ms. Simon.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Gallagher is absent at the moment. Ms. Baker.
Here.
We have a quorum. Also like the records to reflect that Councilmember Miller is also in attendance.
Thank you. Is there any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one submitted any public comment.
Okay. Have my colleagues had a chance to review the minutes from April 19th?
I move to approve the minutes.
Second, Simon.
Thank you, ladies. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Today before the committee, we have one item, I believe. So, Madam Clerk, if you would place that on the table for us to discuss.
Resolution number 2021-0138, authorizing an amendment to contract number 1333 with CHN Housing Partners for emergency rental assistance to income eligible tenants unable to pay their full monthly rent due to the economic impact from COVID-19 for the period April 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2021 for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $10 million.
Thank you. Today we have Sarah Parks Jackson from the Department of Development to talk with us about the reasoning behind this work from the county. Ms. Jackson, if you would go forward, please.
Good morning, Sarah Parks Jackson with the Department of Development. We are requesting an amendment to an existing agreement with CHN Housing Partners in the amount of $10 million, which will allow them to continue to provide emergency rental assistance. This is funding that we received from the federal government that has a deadline for use, which is December 31st, which is in accordance with their current agreement. And they are using those dollars vigorously and have indicated to us that the need still exists for assistance with rent payments for those folks affected by COVID. And on that note, I will ask Mr. Kevin Nowak and Kate Carden from CHN Housing Partners to provide additional input.
Mr. Nowak.
Madam Chair, thank you for having us today. Good to be back with you at this committee. For those that don't know, Kate Carden is our Director of Financial Mobility. It's through her reporting structure that we deliver this assistance to the residents of Cuyahoga County. So, again, great to be here with you. Thought we would provide you some updates, as to where we are today, and then we can discuss any questions you may have about kind of going forward with these additional funds. So as you know, we're running both for Cuyahoga County and for the city of Cleveland rental assistance across Cleveland, Cuyahoga County. So I first wanted to start there, and and that's neoRentHelp.org is the website, and really what we have done. Through that entire system, we have over $28 million worth of approved payments that have served the residents of Cuyahoga County. That is a total number of households served of over 7,800. We're seeing overall the entire system applications on average still coming in about 1,300 applications per month. We did see a small spike in May up to 1,700. We believe that part of that is because of the news that we've heard lately about the potential ending of an eviction moratorium at the federal level. We'd like to look at the county specific data. The county we've served, and this is the county outside of Cleveland, the city of Cleveland, we've served total households of over 4,200. We have approved payments of over 18 million. And we're really seeing those applications coming in at a 50-50. So 650 applications being submitted each month in the county outside of the city. We're seeing an average payment amount of a little over $6,400. That amount has increased over time. When we first started looking at this together last July, I think some of our assumptions were around payments in the amount of somewhere around $2,000 to $2,400. Now we're seeing still people coming in and having that have a longer than expected amount of rental assistance need because people have just not gotten back to work yet. A couple of updates from our last time together. Were around process improvements. We're pleased to say that we made process improvements that we had described, and by next Friday, we will be at a 30-day turnaround time from the time of application to the time of funding. That happens to be my birthday, so Kate and her team promised me a birthday present, as well as the residents of Cuyahoga County on my behalf. We have a handful of files that are approved, and that will have kind of a still additional resolution that we're working toward. That we consider part of our kind of backlog files, but we're talking about a handful. And so we think we're in really good shape. And when we talk to other NeighborWorks members, as well as housing partnership networks across the country, that 30-day turnaround time is really at a best-in-class turnaround based on the volume that we're doing. We made a couple other process improvements. We've been focused on tenant and landlord outreach, making sure that that instead of having a linear process, we have a parallel process to ensure that we are maintaining the landlord and tenant documents in a time. What we've seen is that reduces the overall processing time of applications to 7 to 10 days. We've increased our staffing So one of the benefits of us running the Cuyahoga County program as well as the City of Cleveland program is it allows for us to deliver staffing at a broader scale. And so we have approximately 60 staff that are working on rental assistance, some of which are temporary, some of which are CHN's regular staff, you know, it allows for us by working with temporary employees to have increase and decrease staffing to meet the need. We've also been able to, continue to improve our technology. You know, as we've discussed before, we're using Salesforce as our relationship management system. It's allowed for us to continue to create additional automations, that allow for us to keep and keep improving our contact with the residents of Cuyahoga County who have applied. We continue to, sorry, go ahead, Madam Chair.
No, I just wanted to recognize that my colleagues, Gallagher and Jones, have joined the meeting. Continue, Kevin, please.
Sure. One additional update that I would mention is as to outreach. So we wanted to make sure that, you know, as we, one of the things from the very beginning of this program that we've done is to keep track in terms, of where assistance is being deployed and to whom it's being deployed. We feel that, you know, what we see throughout the county, trends with where we would expect for kind of rental assistance to be deployed. We think we see limited gaps within the system, but we've continued to expand partnerships with other agencies, that allows for us to really have an integrated system between nonprofits to provide referrals and to hold accountability between nonprofits, through that system after that referral is made, as well as expanding additional partnerships that can reduce barriers for applicants, including expanding our relationship with Spanish American Committee, as well as Us Together to try to reach refugee populations who may otherwise qualify. We've also added additional communication methods, in terms of text and phone and email to client and landlord outreach to try to make sure that when we are following up and doing our follow-up, that all communication that's possible has been made to ensure collection and processing of documents.
Any questions from my colleagues?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Mr. Miller.
thank you. A couple of questions. First, is there any limit to the amount that the rent can be that the assistance is provided for?
Sure. To Councilman through the chair, and the benchmark that is the requirement is up to 12 months worth of rent. So that up to 12 months worth of rent can be primarily first we look at back rent that's due. Then households could be eligible for up to 3 months of prospective rent if they are still showing a need and eligibility. That federal's the baseline federal guidance that was delivered at the end of December.
Point of clarification, Mr. Nowak, what
Sure.
dollar amount can the rent be up to?
Sure.
Do we have a per month, or do we have for the 3 months? It can
Sure.
be as much as.
It's a per month. So if I may, I defer to my colleague Kate Carden, who can give you additional detail.
I forgot, what's Kate's title?
Is the Director of Financial Mobility.
Okay, thanks.
Good morning. There is no cap to the amount of assistance that we can provide. It is really up to that 15 months. So any rent or contractual fees that are charged to that tenant within that 12-month or 15-month period, we can pay. And that is what has caused the amount per payment to go up a little bit with the Treasury funds, since we are able to pay things like court fees, late fees, any other costs that have been charged to the tenant.
You're on mute, Dale.
How is this?
That's better.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that answer. And another question. I have a constituent who was renting, and his landlord decided that the owner of the property decided that he was no longer going to rent to this person. They were on a month-to-month arrangement, so there wasn't anything that could be done to prevent him from being evicted, and he was not able to immediately find other housing. So instead, he's temporarily gone into an extended stay arrangement at a hotel. And my question is, can there be assistance in a situation like that?
To the councilman through the chair. Yes, and I believe I know what constituent you're speaking of. We do have partnerships with other nonprofits throughout the county and throughout the city, so that for in a situation like this where we might not be able to assist through the CARES funding, we do have access to some other resources that we can apply to on behalf of that client to help with some transition resources to go to things like security deposits, first month's rent, to get them successfully housed again.
Okay, and my final question, probably not to CHN, it's a broader question. And I want to preface this by saying that I totally believe in the very high quality work that CHN is done, and I'm grateful for all your efforts. So I'm not trying to detract in any way, but the impression that I had several months ago was that we were going to bid out this money, and that the intention was to get a fairly significant number of different agencies and players involved in this process. And it seems like now we're not going in that direction. And my question to the administration is whether we have had a change in policy on this.
Sarah?
To Councilman through the chair, we did do an informal RFQ process when this money was received. We had, I believe, 9 agencies that responded, but not all 9 responded to do emergency rental assistance. So as the funding sources become available, or new funding becomes available, then we start the process over. For example, the new Treasury dollars that we've just been awarded, we are looking at now at instituting another RFQ process so that we get applicants in and determine the best use of those dollars, because the regulations regarding the new dollars is different than Treasury calls them ERA1, and this one is ERA2. There are differences in what we can do with ERA2 than what we could do with ERA1. For example, ERA2 does not require that the assistance be due to COVID. So internally, we are looking at the regulations and the guidance we have to date, and looking at how we put those dollars into several tranches, so that when we do the RFQ, we are specific about what we are looking for in terms of organizations who can meet the needs of the terms of that ERA2 funding.
So, Madam Chair, if I might follow up on this, you surprised me when you said that you had 9 agencies responded, but not all of them could do emergency rental assistance. Well, I thought this entire program was for emergency rental assistance. So my question is, what other services would they be providing, and why would they respond to this but then say they can't do emergency rental assistance?
To Councilman, through the chair, why they responded is a response I can't give. However, Legal Aid of Cleveland, for example, submitted an application, a response to our RFQ so that they could provide legal assistance, which in itself is rental assistance, but it's from a different area in that they cannot provide the funding. We had several agencies that responded that did not have the capability to actually write the check. The way that CHN can, they fund us for a little bit while they wait for us to get through the process to get them the money. Other organizations did not have that capacity, and that was a need that we saw, that organizations had the financial capability to be able to hold on a couple of weeks, if you will, while we got a check to them for the funds. We had 2 organizations that wanted to provide broadband services, and 2 organizations that just wanted to provide, I think, just counseling. So when we send out the RFQs, we are as specific as we can be. We also held a pre-bid meeting to talk about what we were looking for from those who were responding. And I can tell you, over the years, regardless of the grant, we do get some interesting responses, regardless of what we have stated that the requirements are.
Okay, so Madam Chair, final question, and then I'll let it go to others, is when you sent out the RFP, did you get any agencies respond besides CHN that had the capability to do the whole basic program that we're talking about here, to accept applications for emergency rental assistance, process them, write checks, and put it out there?
To Councilman, through the chair, I will have to check. I don't have it in front of me right now, but we can certainly get you that information.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do any of my other colleagues have questions? Ms. Baker, Ms. Simon?
I do, if I may, Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a couple logistical questions. I think I heard that we offer up to 12 months worth of rent and back rent up to 3 months. So I guess I will say, typically, I would think that if you're in need of rental assistance, you would have some back months that needs to be paid. Is that typically what you do, is pay back rent, and then do you automatically then put the 3 months ahead knowing that they were behind?
To the Councilman, through the chair, I'll take this in part, and then maybe Kate could take the rest of it. So when we're thinking through the system, there's as you identified, there's the back rent part and there's the forward facing rent part. So the 3 month maximum is the forward facing part. The back rent could be up through that 12 months of eligibility. So it really is dependent upon the need of the household. As to the process for determining whether to pay forward, Kate, I would ask you to.
Sure. To the Councilwoman, through the chair, what we've been seeing is that the great majority of the tenants applying for the program, when we recertify their income is still very low. They're either underemployed or completely unemployed. And we're seeing their incomes at or below 50% AMI for the most part. And so what we do is reach out to the landlord, ensure that there will be a lease agreement in place for those next 3 months to ensure their tenancy. And then we will add those 3 months to whatever the delinquent amount was. Individuals do not have to be delinquent to apply and qualify for the assistance if they're current on their rent. but they need those next 3 months, we can pay those.
Okay, if I may follow up then. So does the funding go directly to the landlord?
To the councilwoman through the chair, it does. Currently, we are only paying the landlord after receipt of a verification of delinquency and rent, as well as a W-9.
And if I may, are some of these rents that we pay, are some of them subsidized already by the federal government and we're paying the difference of what that tenant would typically pay?
To the councilwoman through the chair, correct. We do have individuals that have suffered a hardship that may have not impacted their rent, but it is still subsidized. We do not pay the portion that the housing authority pays, only the portion that the tenant is responsible for.
Right, okay, so the landlord is receiving some dollars in some cases because of other income coming in through
Correct.
probably the federal government. What is it that's income eligible tenants? What is the eligibility of that tenant?
The eligibility is 80% AMI or less.
80%. Okay.
Kate, could you remind us what AMI is in Cleveland and balance of county?
80% AMI is the area median income for a single person at 42,000, just over 42,000 for a single person.
And then for a family of 4, what is AMI?
I'll have to double check that
What,
amount.
you don't have
for
those
you.
memorized? Thank you. Kevin,
Sure.
Kevin or Kate, you can email that to me or text it to me later. Any other questions? I just have a couple of clarification questions. At the beginning, you said that 28 million had been committed or expended to this program in Cleveland and Cuyahoga County.
Expended. So, yeah, so it's either been paid
The
or
14
approved.
months since we went into pandemic, $28 million has gone to help families stay in their units.
Yes,
Does that include mortgages or is that just rental?
that's our rental.
And 7,800 families have been served or people?
That's households.
7,800 households.
Correct.
Okay. That's a tremendous number. One of the things Councilman Miller asked a question about why some other nonprofits couldn't handle it. And because as chair, I'm curious about how this operates. And so I have conversations with both staff in the development department and have had a series of conversations with Kevin Nowak. Mr. Miller, one of the things, there was a point in time when the requests were so rapid that CHN Housing Partners had over $2.6 million extended beyond what we had reimbursed them for. And not every nonprofit can do that. So that's why someone of their size and capacity was asked to step up and do this. And they couldn't hold on to that. They couldn't have that outstanding for 2 or 3 months. They needed to be reimbursed for that as well. So that was a major concern in doing this, since our system requires input of data and we do not have on-demand pay, but some of these payments needed to be processed fairly quickly. So I do understand why an organization of their size was necessary for this type of project. Any other questions?
I have a
Ms.
quick
Simon.
question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Thanks. Just a question about the 7,800 households. Is there a concentration of where these households are located throughout the county? Is there, what's the dynamic there with where the households are allocated?
Sure, to Councilwoman through the chair, I'll start and maybe Kate Carden could jump in. So when you look at the concentrations, you really see the most need within the city of Cleveland and within our east side inner ring suburbs. So when we look at Euclid, look at East Cleveland, we look at Garfield Heights, Maple Heights, Warrensville. You look at those communities on the east side, and you see the most significant number of applications coming from there.
Go
Go,
ahead.
okay, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Just wanted to see if we can get a list before of the zip codes. Thank you.
So one of the things that I'm not sure that was public information, but it appears that every district has people who needed this assistance. There's not a single county council person who does not have constituents who were in need of assistance. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Can you do a scatter map that shows that as well?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have a scatter map. Happy to share it after, or even share screen here. Either way.
Who controls the screen? Ashley, Andrea?
He should be able to share his screen now if he needs to.
It's Janine. I'm hosting. Yes, you can share your screen.
Okay, let me put on our county council map here.
I'm sorry, Janine, I didn't see your name on the screen.
Okay, thank you. It's good out here. So, what you're able to see here is a map, a GIS map that lays out, sorry for the jumping around, all of the applications that have come in throughout the county. We have the ability on this mapping system to zoom in down to the street level and click on the individual address. We're able to layer in, council awards, zip codes, CDC maps. We also have the City of Cleveland's council awards in here. And it allows for us to, from a snapshot, be able to see where we see those heaviest concentrations of applications, and then we can zoom into the detail. So as I was running through before, getting up here.
There you go, our districts.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. So you're going into Euclid. Yep. East Cleveland, Cleveland Heights, into Shaker, Warrensville, Maple, Garfield, Newburgh. So you really, when I was describing the east side kind of inner ring communities, you're seeing right there that.
But we still had a substantive amount in, is that Mr. Miller's ward? District in 3 in South
Yes.
Brooklyn. And
Absolutely. So it's throughout. Yes. Sorry, Madam Chair.
go ahead.
Throughout the county. It's throughout the county, seeing heavier concentrations where we see more rental, where we see lower income, households. We have, in addition to this data, we have data about the industries that people were most commonly in, their kind of demographic information, the reasons for which they, had this need. Ranging from everything from that loss of job, that underemployment, to other reasons. It's and if you look at the top 3 reasons, it really surrounded around total loss of job, partial loss of job, childcare issues related to COVID.
When did we enter into the first contract with you?
It was in July of 2020.
Okay. Unless there's some opposition from my colleagues, could you do a 1-year report for us?
I'd be happy to.
I'd like to see a summary of what you learned, not just the statistical things we saw where the demographic was across the county and every county council district had people in need of this service and support, but the background information that you just highlighted, that would be fairly important to us as well, to see which industries didn't bounce back rapidly. And what the trend is for additional need.
Sure. Absolutely.
Make some projections. I'd appreciate that. Anything else any of my colleagues can think of that we might need from them? And
I have
so,
a question, if I may, Chair.
certainly,
Along those same lines, earlier it was mentioned that the criteria of salary is 42,000 a year for a single person. That doesn't seem poverty level to me. So I guess I'm curious to know, in your report, was that requirement or level of income based on loss of job or partial loss of job or childcare? If it's just a single adult, I'm not sure, although I guess it could be a single mother. Why is that? Just if it's that high, there are others that are making maybe 25, 27, 30,000 a year that you would understand, but 42,000 a year for one person doesn't seem like that's a salary that you would give rental assistance for. But I'm just curious, and maybe in your report, you can expand upon that too.
Madam Chair, if I may,
yes, go ahead.
to the councilwoman through the chair, the AMI is set by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. So we have to follow, as does CHN, those income limits that are set for our particular geographic area. HUD sets the income limits per household. So we look at the highest is the 80%. We can't go higher than that on this particular, with this funding. And then it's by number of people in a household, be it one, I think it goes up to 8, and then we know how to calculate if it's more than 8 persons in the household. But we do not set the limit. And to the chairwoman, I just sent you the most current income limits. And Councilwoman, I would be happy to send that out to all, because
I'll forward it to staff and they'll send it to all of us.
okay, thank you. Those income limits are used throughout all of our federal programming, not just the emergency rental. Our CDBG funding and our home funding use those income limits.
Okay, I guess I still would like to know in your reporting how that shakes out. Do we have many that are at that higher income level, and what are the reasons why? Is it it must be childcare, or perhaps illness, or maybe elderly care. Must be something that is needed, although they're making an income of 42,000, so I guess that may not even apply. I'm not sure. It's a question. If you can answer it, I'd appreciate it in your reporting.
Be happy to.
Okay. If you could have that ready for us at the in September. We'll be asking you back in September. I didn't think you would be able to wave a magic wand and have all of your analysis done on the 31st of July, so I'll give you a little time. But if we could have it at probably our first meeting of September, that would be great. If there is nothing else, anyone else have something they need to share or questions they need to ask? Okay, timing for this. I'm assuming you'd like for us to expedite this.
Yes, please.
Okay. So if one of my colleagues would like to make a motion on this.
Sure, Simon can move that this matter be moved to the full council meeting with a recommendation of passage under suspension.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Any opposed? With no further objections, this will move to the full body, and we will ask, and we're asking them to expedite it. Are there any other issues that need to come before this committee? If none, I want to thank you for your attendance and your participation, especially my colleagues who responded to my text message. Thank you all very much. And this meeting is